Huge anti-government protests have erupted across Iran, shaking the foundations of the country's political system, openly challenging the clerical leadership in scenes not witnessed for many years. Verified videos show large, determined crowds marching peacefully, signaling a dramatic escalation of public anger. In Tehran, massive crowds moved through major roads late into the night, chanting slogans against Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Similar scenes unfolded in Mashhad, Iran's second-largest city, where protesters filled highways and overpasses, some removing surveillance cameras as a symbolic rejection of state control. Demonstrations were also recorded in Isfahan, Tabriz, Babol, and Dezful. These protests mark the 12th consecutive day of unrest and have spread to more than 100 cities and towns across all 31 provinces of Iran, according to human rights groups. Observers say this represents one of the most widespread protest movements in the country's modern history, cutting across social classes, regions, and ethnic communities. Chants heard across the country reveal the depth of public frustration. Protesters are calling for the overthrow of the supreme leader, shouting slogans such as "Death to the dictator" and "Don't be afraid, we are all together." Others chant "Long live the Shah" and "This is the final battle, Pahlavi will return," referencing Reza Pahlavi, the exiled son of Iran's last monarch. Earlier in the day, Reza Pahlavi urged Iranians to take to the streets and present a united front against the current regime. In social media posts, he praised protesters as courageous and claimed millions had demanded their freedom. He also called on Western governments, particularly the United States and Europe, to hold Iran's leadership accountable. Despite many demonstrations remaining peaceful, violence has erupted in several regions. Human rights organizations report that security forces have used live ammunition in some cities. At least dozens of protesters, including children, have been killed, while thousands more have been arrested. Security personnel have also been reported killed during clashes, highlighting the growing intensity of the confrontation. As unrest intensified, monitoring groups confirmed a nationwide internet blackout. Authorities appear to be restricting digital communication to limit coordination and prevent footage from reaching the outside world. Internet watchdogs warn that such shutdowns violate basic rights and leave citizens isolated during a critical moment. The protests were triggered by deep economic hardship. Iran's the real, has collapsed to record lows, while inflation has surged to around 40%. Years of sanctions, government mismanagement, and corruption have pushed many families to the brink, fueling anger and despair across the country. Many protesters say their participation is driven by hopelessness. A woman in Tehran described life as unbearable, saying her future and dreams have been stolen. Others insist they are protesting to prove that Iranians still have a voice despite decades of repression and fear. These demonstrations are the most extensive since the 2022 protests sparked by the death of Mahsa Amini, which left hundreds dead and thousands detained. They also echo the massive 2009 uprising following a disputed election. Each wave of unrest reflects a society repeatedly pushing back against authoritarian rule. The United States has warned Iranian authorities against further bloodshed, with President Donald Trump threatening severe consequences if protesters are killed. Meanwhile, Iran's leadership has issued mixed messages, urging restraint while also warning that unrest will not be tolerated. Iran now stands at a critical crossroads. Millions are defying fear to demand dignity, economic survival, and political change. Whether this movement will force reform or face another brutal crackdown remains uncertain. What is clear is that the silence has been broken and the world is watching. Subscribe for more in-depth global news and updates.
The protests have taken on a strong regional and ethnic dimension, particularly in western and northwestern Iran. In Kurdish and Lor-populated areas such as Ilam, Kermanshah, and Loristan, demonstrations have been especially intense. Human rights groups report a disproportionate number of deaths in these regions, deepening long-standing grievances over discrimination, marginalization, and state violence.
As night falls, protesters continue to gather, responding to calls for renewed demonstrations. The coming days may prove decisive. Iran leadership faces growing internal pressure, international scrutiny, and an economy in freefall. Whether the government chooses dialogue, repression, or reform will shape not only Iran's future, but stability across the wider Middle East. Follow and subscribe for continued coverage of this developing story.